Resuming debate, the Honourable Member for Nepean.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'll be sharing my time with Member for Fleetwood Port Kells. I would like to focus my talk on the following important items in the budget. First, Canada's critical minerals and clean industrial strategies. In my view, this is at the same time the biggest opportunity and the most critical need for Canada today. Daniel Ergin is an economic historian and a writer who, the Time magazine said, if there is one man whose opinion matters more than any other on the global energy markets, it is Daniel Ergin. Mr. Ergin said in his latest book, "You are creating a whole new supply chains that don't exist, and you are trying to do it in a very fast time. That means transitioning from big oil to big shovel." Second, launching a world-leading Canada Growth Fund with $15 billion, which will help attract $45 billion in private capital. We need to transform our economy at speed and at scale. Third, creating a Canadian Innovation and Investment Agency, a market-oriented agency, one with private sector leadership and expertise, similar to those that have helped countries like Finland and Israel transform themselves into global innovation leaders. Fourth, review of tax support to R&D, decades-old scientific research and experimental development program, which has been a cornerstone of Canada's innovation strategy, which provides tax incentives to encourage Canadian businesses of all sizes in all sectors to conduct R&D. Fifth, cutting taxes for Canada's growing small businesses, enabling more small businesses avail reduced federal tax rate of 9% compared to the general federal corporate tax of 15%. Sixth, on supporting Canada's innovation cluster for innovation ecosystems for plant-based protein alternatives, ocean-based industries, advanced manufacturing, digital technologies, and artificial intelligence. Before I speak on these 6 items, I would like to recognize this budget as a prudent and fiscally responsible. My personal political ideology is at the center of the political spectrum, and for me, being fiscally responsible is very important. I notice our fiscal anchor, debt to GDP ratio, is expected to fall to 45 from 45.1% this year, goes down to 41.5% by 26-27, a level closer to the pre-pandemic levels. We need to go in this direction so that we have the same fiscal strength if we get hit by another disaster like the current pandemic. Related to this is the composition of our borrowings. We had very low interest rates for a long period of time, and now they have started to trend upwards. When the rates were low, our government locked in these interest rates with increasing the size of our long-term borrowings. In the decade prior to pandemic, on an average, about 20% of the bonds were issued by the government were issued at maturities of 10 years or greater. Over the course of the last year, federal government allocations of long-term bonds was about 45%, which is a good thing. The third general observation of this budget is what I've been asking for a couple of years. I've been asking that we launch comprehensive review of government programs. Some of the programs have been around for many, many years, and some were introduced in recent times as a part of our urgent need to fight the pandemic. We need to evaluate if the programs are delivering what they were intended for. We need to know whether objectives or the end results are still relevant and our effective use of taxpayers' dollars. I have said we need to repurpose or reallocate resources to the programs that contribute to quality economic development. I am glad the budget announced the launch of a comprehensive strategic policy review to assess program effectiveness and to identify opportunities to save and reallocate resources to adapt government programs and operations to a new post-pandemic reality. Lastly, the budget dealt with housing, immigration, skills, and childcare. Yes, these are social policies, but just as importantly, they are economics policies too. I entered politics with three objectives. My first objective was affordable housing for all who need it. I am happy to note that the budget builds on the National Housing Strategy and addresses both affordable housing and housing affordability. Now, on to the development of critical minerals. As I said earlier, big opportunity for Canada, and at the same time, a critical necessity for Canada today is developing and implementing critical minerals and clean industrial strategies. The global energy market, I think, is about $10 trillion, and it is undergoing tremendous change. Many significant geopolitical events during the last 100 years were due to energy market considerations, so much so, some have said many countries' foreign policies are totally based on energy policies. Now another dimension has been added. What is behind the scenes, what was behind the scenes, is now in the front. Energy is a national security issue for all countries. For Canada, it is both an opportunity and a necessity that we focus on energy industry. The nature of the energy industry is changing. The transportation sector is going from gasoline vehicles to battery-operated vehicles. Renewable energy, sources like wind energy and solar energy, are not only becoming financially feasible on their own, but they can enhance their standing with battery energy storage systems. Right now, the battery industry is dominated by China. To secure continued availability of the battery in the future, battery-dominated world, we need to have our own supply of batteries manufactured in Canada. We have one strong advantage many countries don't have. We have critical minerals required to manufacture the batteries. Not only for batteries, critical minerals are central to major global industries like clean technology, healthcare, aerospace, and computing. They are used in phones, computers, and even in our cars. Critical minerals are already essential to the global economy and will continue to be in even greater demand in the years to come. We are talking about nickel, lithium, cobalt, graphite, copper, rare earth elements, vanadium, tellurium, gallium, scandium, titanium, magnesium, zinc, platinum group of metals, and uranium. Canada has abundance of these valuable critical minerals, but we need to make significant investments to make the most of these resources. A 1,000-pound electric battery requires about 500 tons of earth to be moved. As Daniel Ergin said, you are creating a whole new supply chains that don't exist, and you are trying to do it in a very fast time. That means transitioning from big oil to big shovel. In Canada, we have the knowledge, expertise, and a long track record on financing and developing mineral projects. We are indeed the world leaders, but we need to move fast now. We need to support the industries with incentives, which this budget proposes. More importantly, we should make critical minerals regulatory process simpler so companies can, seeking to invest, look for a balanced and predictable regulatory environment and a collaborative approach between different orders of the government. I am glad that the budget makes important investments in improving our regulatory process. Because of the shortage of time, I'll touch just on one other aspect, Madam Speaker. That is the Canadian Innovation and Investment Agency. Let us face the bitter truth about innovation in Canada. Our main innovation challenges are the low rate of private business investment in research, development, and the uptake of new technologies. These are key requirements for our knowledge-based quality economic growth and for creating very good quality jobs. This agency is being modeled similar to those that have helped countries in Finland and Israel transform themselves into a global innovation leaders. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I look forward to hearing.